So if you're about to go on some sort of trip, whether it's for one night or 2-3 weeks, I put together my travel essentials from a tech perspective to make sure that I stay topped off, make sure that I'm able to pass the time accordingly when I am taking trains and things of that nature. So without further ado, let's talk about my travel essentials, and my goal here was to keep everything relatively compact, small, and that serves a purpose or maybe multiple of those. So let's get into it with this first one, which is going to be the travel adapter. So as I mentioned, the most important thing here is going to be some sort of travel adapter, especially if you're going overseas. So we're here US based, and I went to Europe, we went to the UK, and then we also went to the EU, which is two different types of plugs. So having a travel adapter right here is one that's going to be very beneficial. And this is by a company called Kashiyama and One Adapter. And these are a dime a dozen, so I'll leave a couple linked down below. But this is essentially a 5-in-1 technically, because first and foremost, you do get all the different travel adapters on the side here. So you can choose between USA, UK, and EU. But then on top of that, you have 2 USB-A plugs as well as 3 USB-C ports that allows you to charge outside of that. So of course you have your main plug, which you can attach to any other kind of 60 watt, 100 watt, 140 watt charging brick. But if you don't have a charging brick, you can actually use this as a 30 watt charger. So you can directly plug into this and charge whatever you need to charge. So this is perfect for somebody who's looking to have an all-in-one solution for a travel adapter. So this one by Kashiyama is the one that I use, but I'll leave a few linked down below because again, there's a bunch of these that I do recommend. But now to give you some context, most of the stuff that I brought with me is going to be in this Orbitkey 2-in-1 pouch. And I'll show you guys exactly what makes this thing a 2-in-1. And also to give you guys an idea, I am packing for 2 people, right? So that means 2 different charging bricks, at least 2 cables, and we're charging 2 iPhone 16s. We have a Pro Max and a regular iPhone 16. We have the iPhone 16e, which I brought just to take some additional photos with. And lastly, I did bring my M4 iPad Pro, which of course doesn't fit in here, but I did need to make sure that I had the correct charging bricks moving forward. So again, this all fit in this Orbitkey 2-in-1 tech pouch, which for all intents and purposes is going to be the best thing for you when it comes to traveling because it's compact enough, but also robust enough to fit everything you need, but it also fits inside of other bags perfectly. And not only that, it's a little bit stretchy. It has a secondary pouch in here, which I'm going to pull out in a little bit to show you guys exactly what's on here. And again, it's Orbitkey, so it's made out of high and premium materials. It is relatively water resistant, so some water droplets can fall on here and it'll wash right away, so it's perfect to carry everything that you need with you. So to start off with what's inside in here, I'm going to open up this front easy access pouch, which does reveal my iPhone 16e, as you can see right here. So I actually brought this with me. I use it as my main iPhone for most of the trip. And we do have reviews already, and I do have a full review coming out very soon, so I'll definitely link that down below. But I have it in the Spigen case that all it does is just adds a little MagSafe on here because, again, I need my MagSafe accessories, but that fits perfectly in this front pouch for easy access when I need it. That's the iPhone 16e, the baseline model one. And then like I said, we have a few iPhones to charge, we have an M4 iPad Pro, of course my Apple Watch, and we also have smart rings that we each wear that do run out of battery in anywhere from 3 to 5 days. So in order to get all that charged and all that done correctly, like I mentioned, we do have the adapter which has its own USB-C ports, but to get some faster charging, I brought 2 Nomad chargers. Both of them are the 65 watt versions, but like I mentioned, I do have an Apple Watch charger. My wife doesn't have an Apple Watch, so I'm using the Apple Watch version, right? So this one has 2 USB-C ports that charges at 65 watts, or it breaks it up into 45 and 20. And then it also has an Apple Watch charging puck on the top of it, so this is technically a 3-in-1. And I didn't need to bring an additional Apple Watch charging puck for this one to work, or for this one to serve its purpose. And then again, if you don't have an Apple Watch or you don't need one, for instance, my wife, she just used this one on her nightstand because it has 2 USB-C ports and still provides the 65 watts of charging, and it's cheaper, of course. And then I always like to recommend to people to get yourself a reliable cable, especially for the USB-C ones to charge all your main devices. Of course, you can go on Amazon and spend just a couple dollars on some cheap ones that eventually break over time and they fray. It might not even support the full fast charging that your phone or your laptop or your iPad supports. So I have 2 recommendations. The first one's going to be by RingConn, which is going to be their flex cable, and I love this one because it is braided. It brings a little lanyard loop right here to make sure that it stays attached via Velcro, and then both ends of this are USB-C, and they also swivel completely, so you can have it at a 90-degree angle each way, plug whatever you need to plug in. It's very easy to use. I've recommended this one a bunch of times. This was the purple one, great way to color match with your iPad mini or something like that. So this is a great cable that pushes all the power that I need. And then secondly, with Nomad also, they have some very premium cables right here, which do go perfectly with those Nomad chargers. So bring yourself some cables or get yourself some cables that you know are gonna last a long time. So some other smaller things were the actual ring chargers, which I mentioned earlier. I am testing them both out for you guys to see. As you can see right here, I have my Ultrahuman on ready to go, and I absolutely have been loving the rim form factor. But again, these have their own proprietary chargers, and I had to bring them with me. And then lastly, I do have my AirPods Pro Gen 2 right here, which I have in a Casetfiy case to kind of help when it comes to sliding away from things and also being able to find them much easier. So this one, I do recommend if you guys need a case, and they're the AirPods Pro Gen 2. I did have my Sonos Ace with me for the flight and things like that, but for day-to-day, if I needed to have headphones in, this is what I was using most of the time. So now before we open this guy up, I did want to show off some of the more fun things that I brought with me, which didn't live in here, but lived in the backpack to kind of help pass the time. So first and foremost, I have this Gamebaby Case, which I have a full review on the channel, and I'll link it below. But I played hours and hours of Pokemon using this thing with Delta Emulator on the train rides and as well as the airplane rides, because again, those were hours on end, anywhere from 2 to 8.5 hours between all the transportation we did. So this one really helped when it comes to bringing physical buttons to Delta Emulator. Highly, highly recommend. It's just a shame that they only make it for certain models, and I'll leave those linked down below. Another one that we used quite often was going to be this Moft Tripod, which is essentially just looks like a MagSafe accessory or a MagSafe wallet. It has a bunch of different functions, but the main one being a tripod that elevates your iPhone about 8 or 9 inches off the ground to give you a way to kind of take a selfie or to give you a way to prop your phone up whenever you do need to take a picture right here. So it's very easy to use. I've recommended this before in the past, and they even have a wallet version if you want to add just a little extra bulk but more function. But essentially, it's going to be a tripod that folds down into a very thin style that goes to the back of the phone via MagSafe, and of course you can use it as a regular phone stand, TV stand in order to be able to watch content and consume content, and also you can use it as a selfie stick, which is awesome. So we did use this a bunch between me and my wife. And then in terms of an actual wallet, I was using the new Andar Wallet right here, which I have a short on. I'll leave that link down below, but it fit all my cards. I brought 2 credit cards, ID, I also have a photo in there, and then of course, it acts like a stand, and it has a little elastic right here, which is basically just a finger hole for you to be able to hold onto your phone more securely. And now I am going to get into some MagSafe power banks in here in the tech pouch, but I did want to bring in my Anker 10,000 milliamp hour battery because we use this one probably the most since it lived in the backpack and not inside the pouch. But this one just had easier access, and it was basically the one that my wife used the most. But it has a built-in USB-C charger, which works for USB-C in and out, which is awesome. This is a 10,000 milliamp hour battery that charges up to 30 watts when wired in, and then it also has an Apple Watch charger right here, which charges up to 5 watts, that is also able to prop up if you do need to have a 90-degree angle on there. You'd have one additional USB-C port over here if you want to charge a third device, and also charge this device with a USB-C cable. And then the final little tidbits, so if I grab this Orbitkey organizer, there is a secondary pouch that you can actually just fully pull out, which is cool to see. So this pulls out, this you can take off to the side, and this becomes its own other little pouch with all its other miscellaneous things. So I can close this up, zip it up as well, because it comes with its own zipper. And in here, I have a bunch of stuff, which is cool. And again, you can even, like I said, bring it on your own. It's already branded and things like that. But here we have 2 MagSafe chargers. The first one being the S1 by Kuxiu. So this one has been my tried and true. I absolutely love it. It's 5,000 milliamp hours. Again, it's a solid state battery, very thin, 5,000 milliamp hours, charges via USB-C, has the light indicators, and has an iOS integration when you are using it with your iPhone. The next one's going to be the K1, which is very similar design language as you can see right here, has that frosted finish on the rear and on the back of it, has a little bit more branding, does have a kickstand built into it right there, but then it also shifts over to the side to reveal an Apple Watch charger as well. So this is basically a 2-in-1 that you can use however you see fit. Again, 5,000 milliamp hours, a little thicker than the S1, but of course has more functions. And then I also brought my Lexar SSD. This is a 4TB version, the Sl500, and this has been my main SSD for the better part of a 1.5 years now, and I do everything when it comes to content creation off of this SSD and my iPad Pro. So this one I bring with me everywhere, just in case I need to get some work done, which I was able to do while on the train and things of that nature. And the last thing I wanted to do was actually be able to track this, and I actually didn't have any AirTags for this specific pouch, but I did use Nomad's tracking card. I absolutely love this because it has iOS integration, it goes into the Find My application, but most importantly, you can charge this up again via MagSafe. And the charge lasts about 4 to 5, maybe 6 months. I have had to charge it a couple times, and I've had this for almost a year now at this point, but it's a thickness of maybe 1 to 2 metal cards, 1.5 metal cards, or 2 regular cards. Fits in any wallet, and I just kind of slid it in the rear so it kind of just hides nonchalant. You can just throw it in here and nobody will even know that it's there. But those were all the tech essentials that I wanted to bring with me, and like I said, I wanted to keep it compact, small, nothing was bigger than the palm of my hand for the most part. Everything was able to charge each other, they all worked with USB-C, so they can fit and form a bunch of different functions depending on your use cases, your hardware, your iPhone, your computer, your iPad, and everything that you bring with you, whether it is for just a 12-hour trip or something that's 2 or 3 weeks. I will leave everything that I mentioned linked down below with the best pricing and any discount codes that we have as well for you guys to check out, but let me know what you guys think about this. Do you have a tech survival kit? Do you have something that you bring with you at all times, whether it is just a quick overnight trip or something a little bit longer? Let me know in the comment down below. Always curious to know exactly what you guys have going on. But that'll do it. If you made it to the end, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below so I know you made it to the end. And if you want to watch more videos like this one, definitely check out one of these videos right here. And until next time, I'm Fernando. Peace, everybody.